Alrighty, I am joined by Andrew Packer, a Canadian stand-up comedian, improviser, and content creator. So thanks for joining me today.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, totally. So first of all, let's just do some rapid-fire questions right off the bat. How old are you?
I'm 28.
28. Where are you from?
From Oshawa, Ontario.
What's your favorite color?
Favorite color? Blue.
Sweet or salty?
Sweet.
Social security number?
Canadian.
Ah, of course.
Was
right.
that a test?
Yeah. No, but how long have you guys been doing stand-up for? What kind of got you into the business?
Sure. I've been doing stand-up for 7 years now, roughly. I mean, some COVID years, I guess, in there too. But I've always loved comedy since I was a kid. I used to be delivering newspapers a lot, and I would always listen to a comedy album. Like I got an iPod. No, there were no iPads back then, but just one of those iPod colors. That's the thing. I haven't said iPod in so long.
Yeah,
wow,
right.
That's how long ago they've
Like
been.
the little nano guy kind of
yeah,
thing.
with the spinny wheel,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
you're like, and then I know the big thing was that it had color, and
Yeah.
I was like, oh, this was a color screen.
You got like
big
a
deal.
blue one of the
It was like a big deal, and I would always listen to comedy albums on there. Like Russell Peter was just blowing up then when I was doing that, and I just fell in love with comedy. My whole family loves stand-up comedy, and it just kind of snowballed into a thing that I realized that you could just start doing and work really hard at.
How did you get into it? Like, was there like, obviously, were you going to school, or you just started doing stand-up on the side?
It's so funny to me that's a very common question. Everyone's like, well, how does it even how? Like people, especially guys that come to shows, they'll always that want to do it, you can tell they're like, well, what do I do? And there's no like mystical answer. It's literally just going to an open mic. Every town has them, just an open mic where you can sometimes it's a music open mic, although I recommend you avoid those ones because when you're a new comedian, you can ruin a show, like at least be at a comedy one. But just go to an open mic, and that's what I did. I went to an open mic, and then I got bit with the bug of curiosity within it, and it became a really cathartic, interesting way to learn about myself and just learn about how to navigate life in this odd planet that keeps changing into weird situations.
Yeah, we're living in a weird time right now.
It's an odd one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You've done a couple big things, like Just for Laughs. You were in Edinburgh doing a show. What are some of the ones that stand out to you for, big moments?
For sure. One of the big things was the Seattle comedy competition that I did. I haven't done Just for Laughs yet. I've done. I will just to mention, because I don't want the talent booker to be like, that liar. He thinks he's done it. No. I did JFL 42, which is a smaller festival they have in Toronto, and then also the Northwest one, which is in Vancouver. But yeah, when I was doing the Seattle comedy competition, which is like, it's been going for like 40 years, and I got through to be a finalist on that one, and we got to play these shows that would have like 2,000 people at them. And when you're a comedian, usually a lot of the experience you have is playing like a 10-person room, even if you have to, right? So going from like doing 100-person rooms to all of a sudden 2,000 people was just like, like the waves of laughter running through the different levels in the room. Those are some pretty huge moments.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And you've also founded the JNT Comedy Tour.
Yes.
Coming back to Kelowna for the third time tonight. Maybe you can tell me about it. Does it stand for something at all? When did it get founded?
So I started doing a comedy show in Toronto when I was a lot newer, and we were doing it before legalization, and it was in a room where you could smoke weed, and then also comedy was happening all the time. And so I called it Jokes and Tokes. And then when legalization was starting to bubble up in 2018, me, Cheda Reyna, Jacob Balshin, the two guys that I met as extremely hard workers, just at different shows and open mics all the time, we decided we'd go on tour and we'd do a legalization tour. And so that was the first tour that we had together, was doing the Jokes and Tokes Comedy Tour across the country. And since then we've gone not only to the West Coast, but through the East Coast. And then we've done the center of the country a number of times. And yeah, it's been a blast.
Sweet. And I mean, taking it back to when the pandemic first happened, obviously you were probably doing shows then. How did you kind of pivot from, being on, in person doing comedy to, trying to figure out what you're going to do after that?
Yeah. I gotta say, pandemic was a curveball that I had not anticipated. Because stand-up comedy, the reason why I fell in love with it was I was like, okay, so this is this thing that's free that I can do that I will help me process any trauma or tough thing that comes up in my life and spin it, curveball it into something fun that other people can share. And maybe if they're experiencing that same hardship, then they'll be like, oh, I don't feel that pain anymore. I think of the laugh that comedian gave me, and I was like, okay, then nothing's going to stop me now. And then the universe was just like, that doesn't exist anymore. And I was like, oh, you got me on that one, because I didn't think live shows would ever end.
Yeah.
And then they did. And it forced, I think, a lot of comedians to take a hard look at themselves and their choices and figure out how they can pivot or strengthen what they do in the coming years. And as comedians that are live performers, there was always a lot of a mentality of oh, I don't need to do the online side of things because I'm going out and crushing on stage every night. I see audiences, people laughing, and that's real. And that's not just a virtual phone thing. And we have this I don't know, kind of jock mentality of this is our thing. And it was closed-minded. And the pandemic offered up an opportunity to revisit different mediums and see if I can be funny on stage with nothing and just in front of people, well, let's see how I can be funny on this little screen that I have that connects me to every single person's pocket.
Well, I was going to say, you're big on TikTok. You have just over 440,000 followers, which is absolutely insane. You have the running bit, the Man News. How did that kind of transpire for you? Did you start that during COVID? Was that did you blow up overnight? You got a lot of followers.
Yeah, it's been a journey. It's wild. TikTok has really changed the game as far as an app goes, but I've been making TikToks since the pandemic started, when I was stuck in the Philippines. I was doing a comedy tour through Southeast Asia, and then everything just went and shut down. And I was in a small island in the Philippines, and I was like, what? Can I come home? And the government was just like, hey, chill.
Stay there.
Yeah, can't do anything for you.
Really?
And we were just like, so wasn't much we could do on the island because everything was locked down there too. I was making videos, and then over the course of 2 years of consistently making content and upping it from just making one video a day or one TikTok a day to upping it to making 5 to 6 to 10 a day, and just figuring out different things, and then coming up with these runners of Man News is the latest biggest runner that has really propelled my following in the past literally only 2-3 months.
Wow.
Yeah, it's been a crazy ride, and it's been fun. Yeah, it's really silly, and I look at my following now, and it's 90% dudes, and I'm like, hell yeah, guys, let's do it. And to the ladies that are following me, hell yeah.
Well, I was gonna say, is that kind of how you connected with other comedians? I know Che, Jacob, is obviously you guys were kind of doing something before, but you guys all took to TikTok a little bit.
Like I said at the beginning, we all kind of gravitated towards each other because we work really, really hard at what we do. I think it's a misconception with comedians that we just go up there and I just wing it. I'm just funny. But yeah. No, we genuinely think about a lot of silly ideas constantly and try to make them better. And these two guys work so hard. And I've been touring with Che and Jacob for over 4 years now. And together we just kind of have been working on this kind of stuff, and Che had a crazy skyrocket experience on TikTok that's leading him to all these new opportunities. He's going to go to the States soon, and he's got a whole bunch of work that's lined up throughout there. And so just chatting with him, and we help each other, and he's helped me a lot just understanding the app and some things that he's learned. So it definitely has been a collaborative endeavor.
Well, yeah, and TikTok's a little bit confusing. Like from
A little bit.
yeah, exactly. But
Yeah.
like the algorithm doesn't make sense, but it works. It works.
Yeah.
Pivoting now, you're able to travel again. Restrictions are easing. How has that been, like, coming back to the scene?
I love it. There's nothing I like more than showing up in a city and just performing comedy for this new place with some jokes that I have, and then also some brand new ideas that let me just ride into the moment with the audience, because then I can enjoy it too with them at the same time. So I love travel. I love just seeing the country and also just seeing different people. Like, don't get me wrong, my bubble is awesome. I love my bubble. But I love to see a variety of people as well. And it's been great just to see people from all different walks and experiences of life. Makes me feel more connected to everybody. It's easy for us to feel like it's so divisive right now, like the world, right? So, are you this or that? And even like the way we feel about our country and how every other country is kind of going through a different case of it, of like, well, that's the middle of the country, or that's the ultra liberal, or that's the city, like all this divisiveness. And then you get to these places and you're like, oh no, like that's a human, they're chill. And you look around their environment and you're like, yeah, if I lived here, I'd probably think this way too. Like, I get it. Yeah. And you can just kind of let that stuff go and just have some fun in the moment.
Well, I mean, in our social climate currently, and, things are a little bit heavy sometimes. Do you ever find it difficult to make light of, like, current situations?
It is extremely difficult. It's a bit of walking a tightrope. There's a lot of tension right now in the whole world, especially in audiences everywhere. There's just so much tension. And they give us no break either. Like, literally, I was just thinking about this today of like, because we've got everything that's going on. It was like 4 years of Trump, and that was just like, whoa. And then COVID just like jumped in halfway through that. And we're like, whoa, this is too much. And then they went straight to vaccines. And we're like, are we finally out of it? And they're like, no, there's another war. There's a third world war. And we're just like, could I have a week? I would love to have a week. Could we? It's been a lot. So there's a lot of tension, and I think there's more reason that we need to have a laugh as well and just kind of let all that stuff go.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and as your career, you probably get heckled from time to time. Is there a time recently that maybe you made a joke that was a little bit cross the line, walk the line kind of thing, that you got, heckled while you were on stage at all, or crossed someone's line?
I mean, there have been many times that I've been heckled, and like most recently, there's a lot more. I just came out of Alberta, so there's a lot of burrito, like that kind of energy, and I have some jokes that play to you revealing your side, but me also kind of saying both sides are stupid. At least that's what I would like to think that the audience takes from what I say. But yeah, I'll definitely get the odd yell. Usually people are just happy to be here to have a good time.
Yeah, so. Totally. How much of your show is like, improvised to plans? I know that, going from city to city, you probably do a little bit of research, so you can throw a little bit of local stuff in there. But how does that process work?
Yeah, it's hard to give you like a clean cut. This is the percentage, but it's a little bit on the audience to have them decide how much of the show is going to be improvised. And also on me, like if I need to be well rested and ready to like really venture, because when you're processing and going fully, completely improv, you're spinning multiple plates and you got to make sure you're like carrying all of them. But if the audience is there giving you the energy that says like, go with this and just do whatever, like we like this route, we like the energy that you're giving us, then it's much easier to just be running into different improv, doing crowd work, building out of the audience. But then sometimes you just naturally, there's a different vibe. Maybe like some astrology people would say it's where the moon's at. Something's off. And sometimes there's a little bit of tension in the audience that I haven't figured out how to fully crack. And that's when sometimes the well-honed jokes come in nice and handy.
Nice. And are all your stuff filmed? Do you post all your acts and stuff like that on YouTube, TikTok?
That's another thing that came out of the pandemic is I film everything now. Everything will be filmed. If you're going to lock me down, I will edit, because everything is going to be filmed now. And that I think, because there's a lot of mental challenges coming as like being a comedian, where like, if there's like the artist, you know, if there's nothing filming me, then perhaps that's where true greatness comes. You know, that kind of energy, this superstition. But none of that serves you in actually doing a great job. So now I film everything, but it's a matter of like when I'm on the road and I'm doing all of Man News content, and then also going to a new city and driving there, and then going and preparing for the show. It's just fitting in the time to figure out what I need to clip out and what I want to put out there. But in due time.
It's go, go, go. Constantly, though.
Constantly.
From show to editing, all of it.
Yeah.
Do you have any pre-show rituals?
A number of pre-show rituals. One of them that I've taken on this past year, or maybe a bit over a year, is just doing these like breathing techniques that just get you like really zoned into your body. Have you heard of Wim Hof?
No.
Yeah, okay, well, a lot of the dudes out there right now are like, I've been hoffing all day, dude. He kind of blew up a bit from the, dare I say, Joe Rogan podcast. Sorry. But no, he's this guy that he has all these world records for doing these really crazy stunts of running across the Arctic, like doing a full marathon barefoot in the Arctic, like stuff like that. And he has these breathing techniques that just really help you center. And I think it has over 30 million views on YouTube. If you type in Wim Hof breathing, there's a 10-minute video that's guided that I've probably watched like 1,000 times, because it's just like it works every time. You do these it's like this hyperventilating and then breath holds, and at the end of it you feel totally in your body. If you have any like heady work where you're like on the laptop all day and you feel like you're very cerebral, this helps snap you right back into your moment.
I gotta try that.
I love it.
I gotta try that.
Mm-hmm.
What can people in Kelowna expect tonight hitting the stage?
Some laughs. We're gonna have a good time. We've got some local people too on, which I'm always excited to see. It's really refreshing seeing some people from different areas kind of doing their thing. So you're gonna see some local people do some great stuff, and then just expect from me some storytelling, some jokes about the state of our world currently, and then I'll dive into some childhood stories as well, and everything will be punched up with a whole bunch of jokes in there too.
Rock on, love it. Is there anything next for you coming up at all? Give us your plug.
My plug?
Yeah.
Well, Man News continues to grow on TikTok, and if you are a man or not a man, even a woman can follow Man News. So follow Man News, because there's a lot of new stories developing every day on Man News.
Perfect. Thanks so much, Andrew. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me, Sarah.